Okay, so I have my slab of clay ready to go. I've sketched out my monster design here, so this is what I'm going to try to create today. Okay, so you've rolled out your slab. Now, you got to know if your monster is going to be tall or if it's going to be short. If it's going to be tall, then this needs to be wider, so you need to cut this into a rectangle. So mine, I kind of want it in the middle, so I'm just going to cut here, and if you want it short, you'll cut maybe like here, so it'll be nice and short. If you want it longer, you're going to go further out and cut. So I want mine in the middle. Okay, and I'm just using a popsicle stick to cut, and I'm going to cut the top and the bottom just to make them straight edges here. Okay, so if I get a ruler out, it's about 3.5 inches is what I'm making mine across. Now, if this confuses you, think about this is going to be the way it's going to be. It's going to be standing up like this, and we're going to form it into a pot. So you need to know how tall you want it, okay? If you want it short, cut it shorter. Okay, so this is our slab. This is the walls of our pot. So I have that made, and then for the bottom of your pot, you want to make a coil. So I'm going to do the typical score. I'm scratching in the clay, and I'm going to roll this up so it looks like a snail shell or like a lollipop. Okay, I'm going to put some slip on it. So that's the clay glue. It's just water mixed with some clay. And I'm going to roll this on itself, and this is going to be the bottom of my pot. Put more water on as you go. Alright, so I have my base. Now I'm going to just check, make sure everything is going to line up, because this slab is going to go onto this base, on the top of it. Now, if your base is too small, get another coil and attach it and make it wrap around, okay? And then smooth it out. I'm looking here at my picture, and I'm going to do this sort of underbite here with the monster. So I'm going to need another coil, and then this one's going to be a little fatter. Okay, so I have all these pieces together, so I'm just going to kind of flatten out this coil a little bit by pressing with my fingers. And I'm just going to set this to the side. So I am going to put my wall around this base. Okay, so to do that I need to score. So I'm going to score all around. And I have a fork in here, so I'm just going to use a fork. If you don't have a fork, use a popsicle stick. And I'm going to score the bottom side of this as well. And I put slip on both pieces, so on the slab and here on the base. That's the glue. So you want those edges to touch. So I'm laying this directly on top. Do not put it on the side like this. Put it on top like this. And I'm going to kind of press down on the wall. And you want these edges to meet. Now if it's a little long, you can kind of fold one in front like that. But I think mine are about ready to meet perfect, so I'm just going to score the edges. And I can't really reach there at the bottom, so I'm going to get a popsicle stick, and I'm going to have that help me on the inside there. Okay, so now that everything is together, you can see here, it's all you can tell where everything is separated. So now I'm going to take the time and I'm going to smooth that out with my finger so it's all attached. So this crease here, I get rid of that by smoothing it all out. Notice how my hand just went on the inside of the pot? It's to help it from collapsing. Okay, now any little fingerprints or anything like that that you don't like, take the time to smooth that now, because those don't go away. You gotta smooth them out while the clay is soft and wet. I sometimes like to get my fingers a little wet in the water and kind of rub it onto the sides if there's like a lot of cracks. If you notice your base is a little too big, you can cut some of it off. So mine's a little too wide here, so I'm going to cut a little bit of that off and put this in my little extra clay pile. Okay, and I'm just going to check on the inside as well to make sure it's all nice and put together. So now I'm going to make the little underbite here. So I'm going to get this coil back in front of me, and I'm going to kind of cut the edges so they're nice and clean. Alright, and so if I have any extra clay that's part of my slab, I can use that to cut out. I've just kind of flattened this piece of clay like a pancake. I didn't really need to go through the entire process of rolling a slab because it's just a little piece. So I'm going to cut out some teeth here. And my teeth are kind of square shaped. And I am going to score my coil here across the whole top of it. And I'm going to score the backs of some of my teeth. And then I'm going to slip, and I'm going to lay that tooth down right here. Alright, so here is my little underbite. So I'm actually going to flip this over and get this as smooth as I want it here on the back of it. And I'm going to lay that here, okay? But I can't just lay it there, I got to score. So I'm going to score the bottom of my pot here. Scratch, scratch, scratch. And I'm going to scratch the back here. And I'm going to line it up with the bottom, lay it down. Don't press too hard because you don't want it to collapse. And then you want to smooth it out. So this is kind of a big coil, so I'm going to use my popsicle stick to kind of help me smooth this a little bit. So I have this tool here. This is called a rubber rib, and this can help smooth. If you want to use this, some kids like this, some kids don't. They think it's actually harder to use, but depends on who you are. But this can help smooth things out for you. You kind of just hold it with one hand, you kind of bend it a little bit, and you just kind of scrape the clay, and then you peel off your little crumbs. But this can help you smooth out any little imperfections. Look, it's a little kind of not too pretty around the teeth, so I'm going to scrape some of this clay out of there. And I'm just going to use my popsicle stick to kind of clean it up. Okay, so now that I have that, you can start building the face, or if you want to add little designs onto your monster, you can add designs. So you want to do this before you add the face. So this is a loop tool, so you can kind of take away little parts of the clay and you can make patterns if you wanted to. You don't have to, okay? If you don't like what you create, just smooth it out. You could take a dowel rod and you can start making polka dots around your monster. It is up to you what you want to create here. So I think I'm going to make some polka dots. Now if you lose your shape as you're decorating, just set it down, form it back together. Okay. So here it is. I got all my polka dots around, so now I want to start making the eyes and nose. So I'm going to start with the eyes first. I made one eye big, one eye small. So that I'm just going to make a sphere of clay. So I'm going to take some clay and I'm going to roll it in my hands. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit lesser clay and I'm going to roll that in my hands because one eye is big and one eye is small. And you got to, you know, do you want it, how big do you want it? Do you want it that big? You want it bigger? You want it smaller? Okay. Now after I roll the clay though, it's in a big, it's like a sphere, it's like a ball. I don't want it a ball, so I'm just gonna press it down just a little, not too much, just a little, so it doesn't stick out really, really far on my pot. Okay, so now I'm going to score the back, and you want to score where you're going to put it on your pot. Put your hand on the inside of your pot, press it on. Okay, and then I like to take my popsicle stick again here and get it really attached. So I press down the eyeball into the wall of the container to make sure that clay is sticking completely. My dowel rod, you can use a big one or a small one, and I like to press eyeballs in there. Again, look how I'm holding the inside of the pot with my hand so it doesn't ever collapse on me. Okay, so now I need to make some eyebrows. So I have a slab here. I'll just cut out the shape of some eyebrows. Okay, now some of my textures got a little lost as I've been doing this, so I'm just going to go back in and make those polka dots again. Okay, again, another thing I decided is I don't really want legs. So I'm not going to add the legs. That's something, again, I'm editing out, because once I put it on here I realize it just doesn't look the way I want it to look. I just like it better simple. Okay, so here I'm going to show you how if you wanted to do the overbite. So I have a slab and I cut it into a strip. And it's going to be similar to what I did here for the underbite. This one I did a coil though, so it's going to be a little more like poofy. And I kind of like that for the underbite because it looks like it's a big old chin. But I wanted this to be a little flatter. But it's the same idea. So you're just going to score. And you're going to make some teeth and score your teeth. Okay, so here is another little pot that I made, and you're going to flip this over and you're going to kind of lay it on the top of your pot like this. Okay, so you want to score the top of your pot. Okay, now if you want this to be bigger, you would just make that a thicker strip of a slab. Alright, so I'm going to smooth out the back here. Okay, so here's just another example if you wanted to do the overbite or underbite, and this is just with a bigger piece. Okay, so this one was kind of like a tiny slab that I put on, and this was a thinner kind of coil. So I'm going to make kind of a longer overbite here. So what this will look like, I will lay it on top of the pot like this, and we'll have teeth coming out of the bottom. So you notice how it's going to increase the size of the pot a little bit. Okay, so you can wrap it so it looks like this to make it taller, or you can just line this part up with the top of it and make your teeth really small here at the bottom and make big giant eyes. It's up to you how you want to do it. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay this on the pot like this, and you're going to have like the teeth coming out of the bottom like that. Okay, so I need to make some teeth, and I think I'm going to make triangle teeth this time. Flip that over. Okay, now I'm going to score my pot. And I'm scoring a lot of it because I know this shape is pretty tall, so it's going to overlap quite a bit. Score the back of that, lay it on, and you're going to fold it over. Okay, so here are just 3 different examples of the art you can make using slabs, coils, slipping and scoring, and these are our monster clay pots.